Hi everyone, welcome to Best Recipes with Sharon. I'm excited to bring this recipe to you today just in time for Thanksgiving. It has a really nice blend of ingredients that makes it sweet and tasty and an excellent side dish. It's called Candied Sweet Potatoes. There has been confusion between whether it's a yam or a sweet potato every time you cook with these, so I did some research, and just for the sake of interest, I'll make reference to that. So this yam is saying I am a sweet potato. So whatever it is that you're using, start by peeling it. Apparently there's many varieties of sweet potatoes which come from the morning glory family, and that's something I didn't know, so I learned something. Skin color can be white, yellow, red, purple, or brown, and while the flesh inside can be white, yellow, orange, or even orange-red. And the skin on these usually have a smooth texture, and they have an elongated shape with tapered ends. And I'd say this tuberous root vegetable fits that definition. But for the sake of the recipe that I'm giving you today, you could use it to candy any vegetable that you would really want to do. It's particularly good on this sweet potato. So go ahead and slice them into about 1/2-inch slices. And as you can see here, it's quite easy to slice. So apparently there's two types of sweet potatoes as well, a firm one or a soft one. And I believe this is the soft one, because the soft one apparently has a copper skin and orange flesh. So prepare a cookie sheet by either greasing it with a little bit of butter or putting some tin foil on it. I have used both, but I do find that the sweet potatoes, when they're candied, sometimes they'll stick to the tin foil. So it's probably just as easy to go ahead and just grease the pan and put them right on the cookie sheet. Either way, lay them out individually on the cookie sheet. Now I'll show you how to make the candied glaze. This makes it so tasty. Alright, so get yourself a medium pot and start by adding 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Then add 3 tablespoons of butter. And now 1/2 cup of orange juice. Now turn your heat on high and start this boiling. And take a spoon and stir it so that everything stays well combined and doesn't stick. Interestingly enough, 1 tablespoon of rum. Now this is optional, but I think it makes a huge difference on the flavor. I only use 1 tablespoon of rum so it doesn't overpower it, but it adds such a unique flavor that it accentuates the recipe nicely. Rather than rum, you can substitute for vanilla if you like. And then add 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. Now once it starts to boil like this, you need to time it for at least 10 minutes. It needs to boil down so that it thickens up. And as you can see here, it has reduced quite nicely and it's thickened. Now then remove it from the heat and set it aside until we're ready for it. Now back to the sweet potatoes. And to add a little bit of zip to it, we pair the 2 spices that do well together. Using about 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, sprinkle it over the top of each piece evenly. Then just a light dusting of 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and once again trying to sprinkle it evenly over the top of each piece. I find it easier to pinch it up in your fingers and sprinkle it lightly from there. This will help to avoid getting too much in one spot. And if you need a tiny bit more, take another little pinch. Being careful not to use too awfully much of it. Now for the part that makes this into a candied sweet potato. Now take the sauce that we've boiled down and pour it evenly over top of the sweet potatoes. At first, it looks like you barely have enough, but you do. It will actually melt when it's in the oven and spread out quite nicely and glaze each piece wonderfully. This is a real treat to have as a side dish. When this is done, you'll be so glad you made it. Now I take a large spoon and I spread it out and try and make sure that each piece has some coating on it before I put it in the oven, just because I think that kind of helps a little bit. Start out with covering it with tin foil. and then place these in a 375-degree oven. And then remove the tin foil after about the first 10-15 minutes in the oven. Total baking time will take up to an hour, and I placed them on the middle rack, and like I said, a 375-degree preheated oven. It's nice that you don't have to pre-cook them ahead of time. You can just put them in the oven raw like they are, and it all bakes in the oven. But you will need to stop and flip them over about every 20 minutes during the cooking process. This will help to ensure that the sauce caramelizes on each side of the potato. And these potatoes will appear to be cooked sooner because they will be soft and cooked through. We just need to continue to bake them so that they caramelize better and they brown a tiny bit. But mostly so that the sauce boils down and coats the potato nice and evenly. Thus you get your candied sweet potato. These sweet potatoes are glorious because of this magical sauce. Candied sweet potatoes, they'll spruce up any meal. It's a great side dish, and this is what I paired it with. I have recipes on separate videos for each of these items on the plate, so you might want to watch for each of these recipes. But until next time, happy eating!